Hello, good morning. Hello, am I audible, everyone?
Good morning.
Morning, Sir Jazz. Morning, Sir
Good morning.
Mike. Morning, everyone who is with us today. So, it's a
Good
gloomy
morning, Miss
morning.
Noel.
Gloomy din po ba sa inyo dyan? Medyo maulan yung umaga natin. So, in behalf of Miss Jera Gumalal from TLRC, I'd like to welcome you all here sa ating webinar this Saturday, this first webinar for today, bringing your brand to Facebook, of course, still with Mr. Jason. And this is organized by the Teaching and Learning Resource Center in partnership with the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office of the University of the Philippines, Cebu. So, shout out po muna natin yung mga kasama natin ngayong umagang ito. Hello po from Mindoro State University and from Davao City. Good morning po. And meron din tayo from Taytay Rizal. And also we have from Northwest Samar State University. Good morning po sa inyo dyan. And yun. So far, yun pa yung nasa chat, no? So kung gusto niyo din pong ma-acknowledge, you can type in your locations and institutions below sa chat box so that we can say hi naman sa inyong lahat na nag-attend ngayon. So maya-maya makakasama na natin si Miss Jera. So, okay. So before tayo mag-proceed sa ating webinar, proper, may mga konting reminders lang tayo para sa ating mga participants for today. So, for a moment, please. Okay. So here are some webinar reminders for our participants. This webinar will be recorded. We will be keeping tab of the proceedings for this webinar for documentation purposes. So you're free to leave if you feel uncomfortable that this session will be recorded. Please mute your microphone during the talk. We want to make sure that the speaker's voice is clear to everyone. We may opt to remove you if you don't follow this request. Refrain from taking pictures or videos of the talk. If you do so, you will be held accountable of data privacy violations if the copy you created leaks into other internet outlets. We wish to keep the identity of our participants private, so as yours as well. So please also avoid using the annotation tool. Once the annotation tool is activated, you might unconsciously swerve your arrow towards the speaker's presentation and draw unnecessary lines that may block the participant's view on some texts and images on the slides. If you have questions while the talk is ongoing, you may put them in the chat box. After the talk, you will have a chance to ask your questions, and we wish for you to only use the chat box rather than voice because of our time constraint. So don't forget to evaluate. Your inputs on the webinar will help us improve our next webinars. After you have answered the forms, you will be given a proof of participation. Please note that the evaluation link will be opened right after the webinar and shall remain open for only 15 minutes. We are currently live streaming on our YouTube channel, TLRC UP Cebu. And for those who are watching through our YouTube Live, you will get your proof of participation by staying until the end of the session. We will be announcing the instructions at the live chat, so please stay tuned. So if you have something to ask us, or if you just want to get updated to our future webinar and trainings, please follow and contact us on these platforms. We have our official Facebook page where we post everything on our upcoming webinars. We have the Teaching and Learning Resource Center, University of the Philippines, Cebu. So that is our Facebook page. And we have also our YouTube channel where we are currently live streaming, TLRC UP Cebu. And if you want to visit our website, we have tlrc.upcebu.edu.ph. And if you want to email us your concerns, please email us at lrcupcebu@up.edu.ph. Okay. So before to introduce our speaker for today, Sir Mike.
Yes, hi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ms. Noel. Good morning, Sir Jazz. So at the moment, I'm not turning on my camera because it's a little bit gloomy in my place. So medyo mahina kasi yung connection eh. So it's my honor to introduce our resource speaker this morning. Our resource speaker finished his undergraduate in mathematics degree at the Mindanao State University, Iligan Institute of Technology. A few months after graduation, he went to Cebu City to try his luck and had his first job writing business and financial stories to a knowledge process outsourcing company. It was here that he gained the appreciation of what the internet can offer and how systems can be made efficient. He then served as a faculty member of the University of the Philippines, Cebu. It was during his time in the university that he became appointed to head the Computing Services Unit, the office that would later become the ITC. It was also in UP Cebu where he became registered as a patent agent under the ITSO program, along with becoming the technology transfer consultant of UP Cebu in it. He then went to a private sector to work as a data analyst for a business process outsourcing company, handling information on workers' compensation. After that, he worked as a specialist for another TPO focusing on intellectual property rights. His return to the UP Cebu started by being a consultant to the ITSO and then later becoming the project leader of the first ever National TBI Summit under the UP Cebu in it. He formally became one of the administrative staff of the university in March 2019 under the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office. In addition to being staff of the TTBDO, he also serves as a patent officer of the UP Cebu, managing the university's IP portfolio and helping various clients with their intellectual property concerns. He also manages the TBI facility of UP Cebu in it as it helps local startups to grow. His various expertise includes intellectual property, information technology, IP protection, and valuation of software and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, let us give a virtual applause to Mr. Jason Nieva. Good morning, Sir Jazz.
Good morning, Micah. Good morning, Noel. Good morning, everyone. So thank you for that very wonderful introduction. So sige. Let me share my screen lang. No? Okay, so again, good morning, everyone. So siguro lang as additional background. So for the past week, the TTBDO, through partnership with the UP Cebu TLRC, we've been conducting some webinars. And for those of you who've attended our previous sessions, you probably noticed na medyo talaga siya, medyo technical siya. Because we were mainly talking about intellectual property and it comes with the territory. So for us at the TTBDO, particularly our office to stage, it's likely ito siguro yung last siguro namin for the year. But don't worry, we're planning to revisit some of our previous webinars for next year and even offering new topics. But for this one, we decided na let's keep it light na lang kasi at least it's probably the last. Tapos we want to relax as well, and for us here at UPTTBDO and UPTLRC, we've had a really long week na puro kami webinars. So again, I'll give the rationale in a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look lang on digital marketing and the value that it offers whether as an individual or as a small business. And then we're going to take a look later at how to bring your brand. So we're calling it brand, remember, and not company. And hopefully you'll see why later. Usually, this training or this webinar, we often conduct it for MSMEs, for the micro, small, and medium scale enterprises, particularly yung mga small businesses na they're not really that into online, no, the internet, or hindi nila masyado kapa yung ano nangyayari sa social media, sa Facebook, or sa internet in general. So this is what we do. So we're going to go lang in siguro into the basics, no, of what it means, or the tips ba kumbaga kung how you can start building your brand on FB. And when we talk about Facebook, there's a lot of things you need to consider, no? But for today, we're just going to focus on how you can make your presence felt, how you can start going about that brand, and then we'll tackle a little bit then later on how to come up with content, no, mga tips and tricks kumbaga. But again, when we discuss about Facebook, especially when it comes to brands or marketing, I often like to divide it into what I call as the creative aspect, and the other is the technical aspect. So this one, what we're going to look into today is kumbaga ito yung creative aspect, how to establish a presence, how to build content. Technical aspect, as the term implies, ito na yung mga analytics, no? Ito na yung naririnig nyo minsan sa news, yung mga engagements, yung mga, ano pa ba, mga ads, mga ganun, no? So, this is more into looking into the effects na talaga ng, ano nyo, ng parang content nyo, kung tama ba yung ginagawa nyo, ano ba yung kailangan nyo gawin, because FB also has some predictive na mga mga features. So may mga ganun. But again, that's a technical aspect. We're going to look into lang sa creative. So at least for those of you who want to try lang, no, even if, for example, wala pa talaga kayong business, but baka may naisip kayo, then you can start practicing or trying this out. Now, we'll start with this quote, no, that inspiration is the most important part of digital strategy. And that's very true because you need to start something, no, creative din kasi and digital. You need to come up with new strategies. Hindi siya pareho dati, no, na, I mean, there are cases that, for example, billboards still work, but right now, halimbawa, with the pandemic, with the protocol, sino pa ba yung lumalabas? I mean, especially during the pandemic, diba? So gagastos ka ng malaki sa billboard, wala namang tao sa streets. So that's going to be one of the key things. Now, digital marketing is building and maintaining customer relationships, of course, through online activities in order to exchange ideas, products, and services. So, ano siya, no, parang two-way street siya. That's why it's important that you're not only just putting your product out, you also need to listen to the customers. And that's one of the things na a lot of people, when they start promoting their products on Facebook, forget, no, na the customer, while they may not always be right, the relationship is important. Kasi halimbawa, you've started, let's say, pastry, nag-bake ka, tapos you're offering delivery, nag-deliver ka, tapos nung na-deliver, na ano siya, no, na ano ba yung term sa Tagalog? Nakalog siya, so nasira ba yung cake, yung cupcake, so the customer will tell you, ano nangyari dito? And then, in that case, dapat you need to find a way para in the future, other customers or even that same customer will be satisfied with your service. Digital marketing is also basically a platform where businesses have a digital presence. No? So that's why in UP Cebu, particularly for the TTBDO, we've started to incorporate this service because, like as mentioned, no, the UP Cebu Init is all about information technology. So again, we want to help, especially what we call as the mom and pop, the stores, no, na kung wala silang digital presence, then tulungan natin sila. But despite this about rather technical na terms, digital marketing basically is just a way of getting found online. Now hopefully, if you're in Cebu, halimbawa, may business ka na gagawa ka ng burger, tapos may Facebook page ka, halimbawa, if I search for Burger Cebu, sana lalabas ka doon sa initial ko ng mga list, no, na nilalabas ng Facebook. So that's the ultimate goal when it comes to digital marketing. Dapat makita ka talaga, no? So you have to be found online. That's why it's not limited to just having a presence. You need to do something para makita ka. But the thing is, when you look at it in a way, medyo historically, you will realize no, na parang we're a bit behind in digital marketing. I mean, right now we're catching up, but siguro pre-pandemic medyo behind tayo. Despite the fact na some of the systems had been in place. No? So for example, the internet through the Philippine Network Foundation, we were online in March 29, 1994. So that's what, 20 years na, no? 20, almost 20, more than 25 na nga. So parang gano'n no, na we've been online as far back as 1994, but at that time, hindi talaga nag-pick up. No? If you can look back at the internet situation in the Philippines that time, there were businesses that had websites, pero ang approach nila was static siya na website at that time. Para lang ano, parang kumbaga it's still like a billboard or a post, nilagay mo lang online. Wala siya doon interactivity. Ganun. It's also worth noting that e-commerce also not new sa Philippines. It's been here for what, around 23 years through the e-commerce law, which was enacted no June 2000. So again, it's a wonder sometimes, but at least we're starting to catch up again. Recently, no, we've had some, ang dami natin nag-ano, but if you notice some of those e-commerce natin na mga apps halimbawa or services like Lazada and Grab, they're really important, di ba? Para hindi siya masyadong they're not really Philippine made. They're mostly either from Singapore or Malaysia. We have one, Google through GCash, but again, ano siya no, this is more of a corporate aspect. So what we want, of course, is to go down talaga sa community and help those na nangangailangan talaga. No? And hopefully, when you help them enter into the digital world, dito na lang sila mag-integrate later, but at least on their own, they have presence. And of course, as we now know, medyo a lot of things shifted when the pandemic happened, and this is going to be a recurring theme, especially when people talk about digital marketing, they talk about apps, they talk about software. They're going to push the narrative in the pandemic because, of course, it was obvious na ano talaga yung how people look at digital world, diba? And then if you look at the statistics no for the year 2020, for example for January 2021, no, you'll notice ito yung total population, and there are some rather interesting na mga data na. Like for example, despite having a population of around 110 million, our mobile connections no is 152 million. Ang dami. So it exceeds the population by 38%. So what this means is that around 38% of the population at least may dalawang cell phones, most likely. Ganyan yung implication. So whether it's for personal or for business, the data doesn't show, but again, it shows us how far technology has gone, and grabe ang gamit in terms of mobile connection. It's also worth noting that if you look at the other two set of data, internet users is 73.9 million, pero yung active social media users is 89 million. So meaning, within households yung iba, no? So for example, itong household, may isang internet connection, pero madami nagko-connect. So that's again one of the trends that we see. In the past, you were familiar, di ba, parang one of the measures of kumbaga parang success, di ba, was a family na may phone dati. But now it's the internet. So, di ba, ang laki ng difference. So 67% of the population has internet, yet we have 80% as active social media users. So in terms of websites, medyo obvious no na Google talaga yung malaki because we pretty much use it in our daily lives, especially when we do research and when we search for things. So because it's a search engine, so medyo given siya. But in terms of the other aspect of social media, for the Philippines, medyo mataas yung Facebook, 250 million, and then followed by YouTube, which is 181 million. So again, it's still social media in a sense. So taas talaga notice the unique visits is, di ba, pare-pareho lang sila. So Facebook has 29 million, YouTube has 24, but total visit nila, ang laki ng difference kasi maraming pumupunta sa Facebook. It's also worth noting, no, na time per visit for YouTube is of course obviously longer kasi videos, but still hindi siya ganun kalaki in terms of sa Facebook. Facebook is around 27 minutes, YouTube is 37, so 10-minute difference lang. Imagine mo yung time to visit ng mga tao. In terms of social media platforms, again, it is for medyo malaki. Because again, video siya, and if you look at the demographics later, diba, some of the in the higher age demographic, hindi mo talaga sa Facebook na. That's why mas mataas yung YouTube. Kasi they marami talaga nanonood ng videos compared mo sa Facebook. But surprisingly, if you notice, mataas din yung level ng Facebook Messenger. So, talo pa niya yung, again, this is January 2021. So, if you look at that, ano pa ba yung mga important? TikTok is 48.8%. And one of the things that we consider, no, bakit, that's why we said bringing the brand to Facebook, because Facebook has this 50 feature, diba, na kahit wala kang data, pwede mo ma-access yung Facebook, diba? Wala kang pictures, wala kang videos, but you can still access the Facebook. So yun yung maganda sa kanya. Unlike sa iba na you really need to have an internet connection, no? At the very least. So medyo mataas siya. So in terms of communication, Twitter, medyo mataas. Then we have Viber. Surprisingly, no, for 2020, marami pa rin nag-Skype sa atin. So that's a surprise. In terms of social media use, again, we have around 89 million active social media users, but as percentage of the population, so it's around 80%. So 80% of the population has a social media account. So hindi na nila nilagay kung if ilan ba talaga sa Facebook, meron ba talaga na is exclusive lang sa Twitter, sa Instagram, but generally 80%. So that's a very big demographic, no? Especially when you consider digital marketing. So ang laki niya. So if you notice the other data, so number of social media users accessing via mobile phone, so that's 87 million. No, sa mga social, out of the 89 million na social media users, 87 million are using their phones. That again is going to be an important aspect when we look into the market Facebook na approach. So again, ang dami, no? So again, but as you can notice, ang laki talaga ng market for social media in the country, and most of us are using mobile phones. In terms of audience profile, malaki yung 18 to 34 years old, and what's surprising for me, no, when I look at this data is ang taas ng social media use ng sa female. So you have, for example, sa 18 to 24, you have 17%. So 25 to 34, medyo pareho lang. But all others, medyo mas mataas ng konti yung female na, no. So again, it could reflect in the demographic. I didn't check kasi sa Philippines na ko in terms of gender, mas marami ba ang females, but most likely mas marami. So that's a big edge. In terms of audience overview, so you have 83 million potential na target, no? So an advertising agent mo na above 13 is 101%. So again, the potential talaga is there if you really want to enter into digital marketing, no? and go into social media. Now, again, no, as an example, if I only used Cebu, I'm not sure, for example, for those of our participants in Luzon, Mindanao, or other parts of Visayas, what's the trend? But looking at Cebu, for example, you notice, no, during the pandemic, we have the Cebu Food Guide. This was created April 2020. This one was created May 2020. So as you can see, mas mabilis yung yung mga tao na when it's about food, no, kuha ka nila. Okay, may ano tayo, may ano ang tawag doon. Bawal lumabas. But people will always eat. So kikita nyo kaagad, mga March, di ba? At it was around March 15 na na-start ang nationwide na lockdowns. Pero ito is sa April pa lang. Labas because they knew kalabas na need because it's food. Now compare that for example with the plot na medyo mas matagal, no, it took a while, so mga June pa, October, di ba? Ito na yung time na parang medyo nagsettle down tayo sa lockdowns and we started to get bored mga tao. So ito na yun. So they created their own groups. And again, if you notice, this is October, this is June, so may mga ganun na lumalabas. Because again, they saw the need, no, to go online. And there are even mga buy and sell groups na rin. Because again, these arose out of the need, no, for resources. So some people sadly lost their jobs. So anong ginagawa nila? Bibenta nila yung mga gadget nila. So dumami rin yung mga ganito. But overall, this tells us na lumaki talaga yung market, no, in terms of digital access. And mainly sa Facebook, ang daming naglabasan ng ganito to the point na minsan, kahit ako, no, nalilito ako minsan kasi ang dami ko palang ni-like before or sinamihan na group. So ngayon, medyo hindi na ako as active sa ganun na groups. But pag may post, nagugulat na ako bigla, I was a member pala of this particular group during the pandemic. But again, that was the shift, no? That was the shift that happened. Now, before we go into that, I always remind, no, people na interesting as digital marketing may be, no, even if we like digital marketing, we're excited to try out Facebook. You need to take a step back, so to speak. Atras ka muna, titingnan mo, no? For those of you who attended our webinar, for example, on trademarks and business, I shared then, no, na if you're a business and then you really have plans for the future, or you really want it to be a commitment, filing a trademark shows that, because gagastos ka kasi, you're going to use money, resources, you're going to use time in protecting your brand. So it shows na may plano ka talaga na tatagal yung business mo. And it's going to be the same, no, with digital marketing. So whether you're actually going for physical location or going online, you really need to think things through ba? Kasi digital marketing, or even yung sinabi ko, no, bringing your brand to Facebook, it's really going to take a lot of your time. Parang ganun pa. So ano talaga, you have to incorporate it in your plans, no, for your business. So sabihin na natin you have this pizza, nagtayo ka na pizza place, and then you put it in, let's say, sa downtown area kung where you are located. Of course, we're assuming, no, that you chose that location kasi let's say not we're in the new normal na, so maganda yung food traffic halimbawa, or malapit pa sa simbahan or some mall. So may mga ganun na considerations. Similarly, if you have an online shop, no, so whether it's mga damit, mga sapatos, or even food, you look into it. Ano ba yung plano ko in the future? So if I have a pizza place, why am I going to enter into digital marketing? If I have an online shop na medyo okay na, why am I going to market it pa? What's the point, no? So if I have a pizza place, anong plano ko? Do I plan to expand my business? That's why I'm going into digital marketing. Am I going to put up branches in different cities, halimbawa? Am I going to offer new features like, let's say, delivery? So may mga ganon. You need to know ano ba yung purpose mo in the first place, kung why you're entering the social media aspect. Kasi it's going to be really difficult, and dapat kasi dynamic ka. So para bang, okay naman yung pizza ko, okay yung business, I have customers every day, ganito. So, di ba, parang, why do you need to have a digital marketing parang portion of your business? Kasi nga siguro, you want a new feature which is delivery, tatanggap ka ng delivery. So, kailangan mo mag-communicate with the customers, or ano pa ba? Baka gusto mo rin halimbawa na yun nga, magtatayo ka in another city, so you need to get a feel kung ano ba tingin nila, kung gusto ba nila yung products mo. So may mga ganun, no? So again, what I'm saying here is digital marketing is ano kasi siya, it's an additional task for you, no? Especially if you really want to make it into a serious role, no? That's why if you notice yung mga malaki na companies, they hire talaga mga social media managers, digital marketing, because meron kasi silang plan. So in your case, even if you're a small business, you look into it, pag tingin mo, hindi pa ako, parang okay pa ako for now, then sige, wag ka muna masyado pumasok into the digital marketing. Siguro pwede presence na muna on Facebook and on. So titingnan mo muna if you feel mo muna, no? So again, that's why I said, oops, you stop and think, ano ba yung plano? Kasi especially now with the pandemic, ang dami nagsimula ng mga online businesses, but for some, I've noticed yung iba parang natigil na nila when things started to go back to kumbaga the new normal, no? Yung iba nakabalik na sa trabaho nila, so natigil. So may mga ganun, so you really have to find a way. So going to Facebook, they say, no, that Andrew Greel, that the problem with the word social is it's not just actually the platforms, but it's a language, and that's true, no, because different kasi, di ba? If you notice, when you're on Facebook, different, iba yung timpla ng tao. Pag nasa Twitter ka, iba rin yung timpla. Pag nasa TikTok ka, iba yung timpla. So you have to adjust. So that's why in my case, I decided na to focus on Facebook kasi at least may idea kayo if you're planning later on, halimbawa to market your business to Instagram, medyo pareho siya sa Facebook, so okay lang. But if Twitter siya or TikTok, so that's going to be a different approach. So the question is always, why social media? No? Because as we've seen, there are millions of users using social media each month, and I'm sure every day, no, ang daming. I'm sure for many of us here, ano ba, siguro 1 hour siguro, no, is konti ba yan siguro for when accessing social media, especially FB. It also gives you the ability, no, to reach people wherever they are. So yun nga, if you have a business, for example, coming here in Cebu City, and you want to offer your business, let's say in Bohol, so you need to have social media para ma-feel mo rin kung need ka ba talaga doon, no? So it also helps you develop your marketing plan. And of course, billions of messages are sent each month between people and businesses. This is just emphasizing that if you have an online business, or you put your business online, you really need to have a relationship with the customer. Hindi pwede yung, di ba? I've experienced na yun, nag-message ka, tapos walang response sa'yo. That's not a really good business practice, di ba? Then you often hear the excuse na ang dami nila natanggap na messages, tapos hindi na masikaso lahat. Again, that's not a good business practice kasi in the first place, pumasok ka halimbawa ng FB, ano in-expect mo, di ba? Na walang message sa'yo. Of course, you expect na maraming message, and dapat you need to respond to each of those messages. So may mga ganun na. So why Facebook? Because generally, when right, especially during the emphasize sa pandemic, no, na if you have a business page or if you have a Facebook page, for some customers, na para bang it gives your business or brand a sense of legitimacy. Kahit sabihin na natin, admittedly, no, some businesses online wala talagang business permit, etc. But because you have a Facebook page, it gives your brand some sort of legitimacy, parang legitimate siya. And one of the reason is the customer knows who you are, and then they have a way to contact you, whether it's through a private message or whether it's through a cell phone. So medyo legit, no? You have parang legit yung dating. And again, it's important to have a presence in Facebook, especially on the digital world, considering that in the Philippines, ang taas ng usage natin on Facebook. We're not yet that high, no, in terms of other social media. I don't have the figures. I'm not sure kung mataas ba ang TikTok, but I doubt na talo ng TikTok ang Facebook, considering that TikTok is really a different market. And medyo kailangan mo talaga ng data. I assume. No? And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's the ease of access. You can access Facebook even if wala kang connection sa net, kahit data mo lang or kahit sa cellphone lang, you can access. And then even yung mga free wifi sa malls or even some of the LGUs, even if mahina yung bandwidth, I mean, you can access Facebook at least ang basic feature. So hindi talaga nawawala yung Facebook sa'yo. And that's going to be part of the strategy later on. Okay, now going back, no, when you create an account on Facebook, what's usually the first thing that we do? No? When we go to Facebook, if you recall, yung mga matagal na ako, I think I started in Facebook, I think 2007, no? And I remember at that time, tatlo pala kami sa friends ko. I mean, out of our group, tatlo lang kami meron. Kasi at that time, ang uso nun is, yung mga nakaabot pa, di ba, may Friendster, Multiply, tapos usong-uso pa dati yung mga Friendster testimonial. So when we saw Facebook dati, yung ano kasi namin, we wanted to try everything talaga. Basta may bago, try lang kami. And at that time sa Facebook, ang konti pa lang, tapos yung mga games, may games pa nga sila actually dati. No? But when you make an account on Facebook, what you usually do is, of course, you create an identity, di ba? You create a new account, you put in your email, phone number, password, etc., etc. And then later on, you express your personality. So your Facebook page generally shows who you are through the comments, through the likes, through the shares. It will show kung sino kayo. And that's also one of the things na they're doing webinars, sabi nila, sometimes you have to be careful na rin on what you post on Facebook. And not just because of privacy issue, but more on how Facebook targets your profile. Diba? If you notice, nag-PM ka lang sa friend mo, nagtanong ka, halimbawa, ng bagong ref, diba? Kasi bibili ka, whether it's for business or personal. You'll notice probably the next day or within the day, diba, bigla may ads ng mga appliance because nasa algorithm kasi yan na so the Facebook algorithm will try to see ano bang personality nito. Gusto niya ng Taylor Swift, so lalabas yung mga post about Taylor Swift. So that's what happens, no? Because they're looking into your personality. However, that's the personal aspect, no? People have personalities but businesses have brands. And the reason why we've been using the term brands is we want it kasi to differentiate it from the company itself na pinayo mo. So if you have Silvio Zurita, ito yung company mo, when you go to Facebook, it has to be the brand. Yung brand mo dapat yung i-market mo. So halimbawa ito, who can remember this brand? Anong brand to? Aking favorite na, no? Sige nga, si Ma'am Noel at si Sir Michael. Anong brand? O si Ma'am Jera, anong brand to?
It's a dye, Venus dye.
Iba yung logo ng Venus dye. Pero Venus din siya. Ano to? I think many of you are familiar with this product. Venus is a dye, but hindi niya ginagamit yung star na logo sa Venus.
Oo.
It's a dye.
The same.
Yeah, almost the same.
Almost the same.
Sige. Anong brand to? Or anong product kaya nito ng Venus? You see this every day before. Not so much na ngayon. Because it's Venus na chalk.
Yes.
So again, that's the brand.
Paborito
So
natin pictures.
Yes. No, panahon na wala pa tayong whiteboard.
Oo, may chalk allowance pa.
Oh, may chalk allowance pa dati. And then, of course, we also have this one. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, no?
Nestle.
Yes, it's Nestle, di ba?
Yes.
So, that's very good. So, these are relatively big brands. Yes, no? Si Sir 2 years na tayo din nag-chok. Yes. Hopefully, no? Wala ng chok kasi nakakasiya din daw yan sa respiratory system. Okay, so basically, no, while we're happy with patronizing big brands, it's also important to note that a lot of them started small. No? Admittedly, no, we may not have the same opportunities as them. Now, we hear stories, diba, na these big brands started small, pero they had this opportunity. We may not have that opportunity at this time, but at the very least, no, we know that they really didn't start na big. No, they started small. And generally, when we talk about brands, it's all about creating trust, building connections, recognition, of course, na kumbaga isang tingin lang ng customer, alam kagad nila na ikaw yan. And it has to differentiate a business from competitors. Also, for most brands, it has to symbolize something aspirational. That's why, as we'll discuss later, it always pays not to have a really good story. Kung sa superhero pa, ito yung parang backstory mo. Diba si Spider-Man. Why do a lot of people no, like Spider-Man? Kasi diba yung backstory niya, pero sakit, diba na he gained this power, he didn't really appreciate the power. So what happened? Namatay si Uncle Ben, and then doon na nagsimula yung kanyang with great power comes great responsibility. So yung mga ganun, no? It's the story behind. Because when people relate to your story, mas mapapatronize kasi nila eh. Kasi they feel some sort of connection with you. So again, no, so it's not just a logo, no. Although in our webinar on trademarks, that was the focus. But in this case, when we talk about digital marketing or marketing in general, a brand isn't just a logo, but it's how people feel about a business. No, that's why if you recall, Jollibee, for example, they always have these ads, no, about yung mga family. Yung target nila is family kasi yun eh, you're trying to build a connection with the customers na, oy, this is a place for family, this is a place where yung mga matagal na hindi nakita, pwede kayo makita dito. So that's also the goal dapat natin when we have digital marketing. Even if we're a small business, that should always be the primary goal. How do people feel about our business? Paano ba nila? And that's what we also emphasize when we do this training with MSMEs. No? Yes, you're a small business, pero you find a way. Na, no? Even if karinderya yan, there's a thing that people feel about it. No? So in my case, for example, when I work in a private company, yung tabi namin na karinderya, then that's a good example kasi we eat there, breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner pa nga. So may mga ganun na situations. So again, it's a collection of associations that people have about a product or business. So as I mentioned, yung karinderya, whenever I pass by that area, kahit wala na, kahit ano na yata siya ngayon, dealership yata siya ng Honda, but I know doon siya dati, and then you recall the feelings. So that's always the goal. So it's hindi pwede na parang basta lagay lang tayong logo, lagay lang tayo ng post. We need to find a way na dapat ma-connect natin yung business natin with the feeling of our customers. And generally, no, when we talk about a brand, it has to apply to all customer touchpoints. Meaning, especially for those na may physical location, dapat ma-feel nila na you have a physical location, or even if may online presence ka or online ka lang, and even the way you market your products, no? The customers will feel na pag nakita pa lang nila yung post mo, alam ka nila, uy, ito yung sa ganito na business, no? So alam agad nila, they have that particular feeling. So you need to look into that as well. So just to differentiate for a bit, so when we talk about business and brand, so for example, a burger is a business, but your brands are Jollibee, McDonald's, Angel's Burger. So telecommunication, so you have Smart, Globe, Sun, Talk and Text. I'm not sure kung may Talk and Text sa Sun. Binili na yata. Then we have pharmacy, 360, Mercury, Rose. And then soft drinks, of course, the Coke, Royal, Pepsi, other na kono. So you have to, kumbaga kailangan kang umangat eh. So you have to find it. That's why there's always the focus on brand. Even when we discuss when the previous training on trademark, I always emphasize that you have to find a really good brand that will reflect who you are or who the business is. No, so Now, in defining a brand, for some of you know na you just started your online store, you started your business. One way of looking at how you define a brand is what we call as the four key components, no? And we call this as the epic components. So you focus lang ito sa E, P, I, and C. So that's why epic siya. So for the E, it talks about the existence. What's the story behind the business? Bakit mo siya tinayo? No? And for me, no, personally, there's really ano tawag doon? Wala siyang bawal talaga when we talk about story. Walang background na hindi pwede. So, halimbawa, you started this because this is your hobby. Diba? Then chances are you'll probably find like-minded people or customers na will still patronize that even if hobby. So if you started this because, again, you're one of those na who lost their main job during the pandemic, then you put that as the story, no? You need to share with people na ano ba nangyari? Why is this business in the first place? What happened? As a facilitator, no, you have also adjusted to your own system. Tingin mo, I'm going to go for the cheesy, the customers. Mas cheesy yung story mo, di ba? Of course, factual pa rin siya. Wag mo naman, siguro may flowery aspects, but wag mo naman, but don't put yung mga lies talaga. No? You can extend a bit sa reality, no? But again, the facts should always be there. For P, the purpose. So, you have the story, you have the reason. So, yun nga, wala kang hobby, kaya ka tayo ng business nito. So, ano ba yung reason in the first place? Is it just you want to share your products or gusto mo rin kumita? So, lagay mo lang ng konti, no? What's the reason behind this business? So, you need to have the story, why you came up with this business, and then what's the purpose of the business. When we go to I, which is identity, this is where you start to come up with the look and feel of the business. Ano ba tong business ko? Is it going to be something formal? Is it going to be something quirky? Ganun, no? Seryoso ba ako dapat? Or medyo konting, medyo may konting fun, konting seriousness. So you need to identify at na ano ba yung gusto ko na look. So halimbawa, if you're in the food business, then maybe you're going to go for the look na parang clean, delicious, parang gano'n, no, na look ang gusto mo. If you're into, let's say, mga motor gear, I've noticed medyo dumadami sila late minutes. So maybe doon ka sa medyo gritty na mga look, no? So depende again. And then for the C, connection, it's the voice and tone, no? So you have the look and feel and then the voice and tone. So yung sa food, kung yung food mo is, let's say, hot dogs, pizza, so it's possible you're going to target kids. So medyo, the way you post later sa FB should be, yun namang pag nakita ng kids, matutuwa naman sila. Pag yung target mo is mga nasa 40 years old, 50 years old, then you adjust the tone. Baka yung target market mo is 50 years old and above, tapos yung mga post mo halimbawa about sa brand mo, sa business mo, sa brand mo, mga memes na hindi nila naman mag-gets, no? So you have to adjust that kasi sige, ang cute ng meme pero baka hindi maintindihan ng target na market. So when we talk about a creation story, there's usually three na steps. Number one, who were involved, what was the problem, and how was the problem solved? So this is the story na about your business, no? So sino yung involved, ano yung problema, and how did you solve the problem? So yun nga, if so pwede mo sabihin na it was started by you, your family, or your wife, or your friend, and that was because kayo magbarkada halimbawa, different trabaho nyo, but nawalan kayo during the pandemic, but you realize, no, may mga ano pala tayo, may mga skills pala tayo in terms of halimbawa cooking. So kaya tayo kayo ng parang business na yun nga, mag-serve kayo na, mag-deliver kayo ng food. So parang gano'n. So you and your friends, ito nakita nyo fun na nawalan kayo ng income, but para ma-solve natin yung problema natin sa income, maybe gawa tayo ng business. Let's cook. We have the skills naman. So how did the business, ito yung sa Kino, how did this business come to be sa epic na part? What was the creation story? So it's really, really important, especially when you go to Facebook later. And because business with compelling creating stories have a huge advantage. Because again, ito yung ano kasi, di ba, parang this is the one that the customers will feel attached. May attachment sila na, uy, wala no, ito pala yung nangyari sa kanya. Siguro kung yan yung nangyari sa akin, baka yan din yung gagawin ko. So parang gano'n. So the creation story is always important. But again, as I mentioned, there's no wrong story, no? Because you're going to have a different market. Yun nga, ang dami mong damit. Gusto mo na magbenta, tapos nabenta mo siya, tapos nagustuhan mo pala nagbenta ng damit. So, order ka ng bagong supply, nagbenta ka. So that's your story because yun nga, ang dami mong damit, hindi mo nasusuot. It started to clutter your house. So binenta mo siya, and that's where your story started. And then, nagustuhan mo yung comments ng mga customers, na gusto pa nila mag-order. So may mga ganun, no? As long as you have a compelling story, the customer will always have that connection with you. So when you look at the Facebook page, for example, you'll notice that dito, they have a description, and then once you've done that, the one on the left side, it will go down sa description. So wala naman talaga siyang limit, I think, no, from what I know. I think mahirapan lang kayo if ever sa category kasi baka wala doon yung category. But when you make a page, it's important to put a description para lalabas talaga dyan kung ano ba talaga yung business niya. There are different ways, no, of going about yung sa description on sharing your story, and this is one of the templates, no, that Facebook gave us, no, when we also attended the training done by Facebook. So para ito yung idea nila. Of course, you can make your own, no? You can adjust it to fit your own, but the idea is you introduce who you are, where you are, and then what service you are, and then some of the things that you think, kumbaga targeting the customers, no? Kung ano yung nafe-feel nila. That's why, diba, they're fan of ano yung 3 things, and we really care about the brand, and we really care about the brand. So that's what you should do. Again, no, this is not this should not be taken as para bang actual template, but just a way, no, of presenting. So the example here is first this one. So hi, we're Little Lemon. Our restaurant is located in Chicago, and we provide authentic Mediterranean food. Now, if you notice, their market is Mediterranean food. So ang sinabi nila, we're fond of Napoli, Espresso, and Viking. So they're relating, kumbaga, yung funness nila, yung story nila with their experience as giving it an experience, diba, sa Mediterranean countries, diba, Viking, Espresso. So they're connecting what so itong what we're really fond of, ito yung parang sa aspect ng owners or sa aspect ng business owner. So what is it you really like? And then when you say we really care about, ito na yung sa target customer niyo, but you're still connecting it, diba? So for example, when you go to an authentic Mediterranean restaurant, when you eat there, ano ba yung target mo na feel? You should feel happy, there's well-being, no? There's tradition, and there's service. So that's one of the things lang na you need to look into when you make your description. Again, no, this is a sample template. Kayo, it's up to you kung igayahin nyo, but ito lang yung idea on how it's presented and what are the elements. So introduce yourself, anong klaseng business kayo, and what it is you provide, and then ano yung mga dapat malaman pa ng customers tungkol sa inyo. Because also, once you've done that story, you're not going to go into the tone, into the other parts. So it's not just the story itself, but you also need to look into the other aspects now, like photographs, color palette, look and feel, and even the font. No, for some people, the font really plays a role. That's why, whether it's in the academe or in business, for example, no, we really don't like yung Comic Sans. We try to avoid Comic Sans talaga. I mean, it's quirky. Pwede siya pang siguro, no, pang project sa elementary na level when you make a project. But for a business, parang hindi siya masyadong maganda talaga. Now, as you notice, in this case, no, you consider the creation story, you consider your identity, etc. as you notice, diba, you're also going to consider mga photographs, anong color, and that's why I said earlier na when you really want to promote your business through Facebook, ano talaga siya, it's really going to take a lot of work. So hindi siya basta-basta lang na lagay ka lang, ito yung logo ko, lagay ka lang. Ito yung gusto ko na color scheme. So meron talaga siyang, kumbaga, you really need to look into, planuhin mo talaga, kumbaga, no? So for example, medyo malabo na, but there are certain relationships no, that you want to associate when it comes to color. So meaning, paggawa mo ng color scheme ng Facebook page mo, or even sa logo mo, you need to look into the different colors. So if you're into food, then a good combination would be white, of course, which refers to cleanliness. You have green, which refers to health, and maybe, ano ba maganda dito? Pwede siguro yellow, no? So white, yellow, and green, because yellow is about happiness and warmth. So you need to find the right combination then of colors para mapakita mo din sa customers who are you, because whether it or not, no, even if the customer doesn't really know na ito pala yung halimbawa na sinabi nila na associations, they will really feel it when they see you. No? So ano ba ang sa Jollibee? Yellow, so happiness, white, cleanliness, saka red bar, orange. I think orange, no? So it's about friendliness. McDo is yellow, diba? So happiness, warm. So may mga ganun. But if you notice the listing, no, may sinama din siya na para kumbaga ang negative aspect. So pag sinabi mo red, diba? Parang while it's about passion, baka the customer also think about danger, no? So may mga ganun din na. So you also need to address that. So yes, tama siya, no, si Ma'am Jera, no? So usually strong colors, orange and red. Yeah. So, but again, no, depende siguro on what type of food it is you want din. Kasi yung mag-inasal is green, yellow. Oh, may red ba mag-inasal? So green and yellow. What else?
Strong colors usually.
No? Red, no, orange?
Solid colors.
Yeah.
Solid colors, strong colors.
Because you also, because if you look at it kasi in how they market it, physical kasi ng marketing, di ba? So in a way, gusto mo ng solid colors kasi you want it to be noticed, especially, di ba, pag nasa daan ka, gusto mo makita kagad ng tao. No? So that's why, yes, that's true. No, usually yung mga food, strong siya. Even sa businesses, they go for strong colors para kita kagad siya. But the beauty sa digital marketing is you can now, in a way, play around with different color combinations. Kasi ano na siya di ba? Parang ano na siya, sa page na kasi siya lalabas. So yan yung parang, in a way, a bit of an advantage sa digital marketing. So hindi siya tulad sa dapat paglabas mo sa daan, kita mo kagad, okay, gusto ko ito. So that's why my strong colors, usually, when it comes to physical na businesses. Mayroon bang? O nga, no, rare talaga ang soft sa earth colors, no, for a business. The association din kasi, it's really not. Black, for example, you rarely see food establishments na black talaga yung gamitin nila na color. Usually, may other colors talaga sila na implement. Another thing that you can do is they have this, Facebook has this parang, they share this parang form, no, where you can, before you even enter into a digital marketing stage sa business mo, you try to see, for example, sino ba talaga yung target audience mo, ano ba yung need nila, ano yung demographics. But because this will impact later, especially sa tone and voice of your business. And of course, in the technical aspect, alam mo kung sino yung ita-target ng ads mo. So in the case of this example, so yung target nila is 31 to 55 halimbawa, household income, and then interest, organic food. Meaning later on, when you delve into the ad engagement and the ads, the target mo na sa ads mo is yung mga tao na mahilig sa organic food or mataas yung value nila when it comes to family, mga ganun. So, but again, this will also help you kasi how to tone your business. So if your target are students, then again, your Facebook page, siguro, yes, you can use memes, you can use mga other types of content, but if it's an older demographic, then siguro iba na yung titingnan mo. But then you also need to consider, halimbawa, if yung target market mo are the people na dependent lang on free Wi-Fi, for example, or sa data. So meaning, huwag mo masyadong lagyan ng mahaba or masyadong maraming media kasi hindi nila mababasa. So again, it helps to learn more about how you can choose kung sino yung initial target. Still, on the issue of content, you can also use these parang slide bars to determine kung ano yung gusto mo na, kumbaga, what's the theme or the tone of your business. So you can go, for example, to the far left, you have a serious tone, or you can go to the far right, which is the funny, or maybe somewhere in between, or maybe it could be mga 3/4 na medyo doon siya malapit sa serious, but not just as funny, but ayaw mo rin na masyadong serious, or you want it to be as casual as possible, but not too casual. So may mga ganun, no? So these are just guidelines, no, just to help you kumbaga formalize your presence in Facebook, no. It can help you formalize that. So respectful ba siya? Is it irreverent? And the last is matter of fact ba siya? Enthusiastic, meaning especially when you deal with customer messages, no, di ba? May nag-message sa'yo, magkano po, di ba? Although we don't advise na yung mga PNPM, but sabihin na natin, sige, gusto niya mag-order ng cake, tapos sabi nga, kano pa makatagal? So if your tone is based doon sa page mo, matter of fact, sabihin mo, halimbawa, you're the 10th customer for the day, so but since bukas pa naman, so siguro ikaw yung pangatlo namin na i-bake. Pwede ka naman sa enthusiastic na medyo tapos combine mo with funny na para bang magtatanong siya, tapos yung response mo something like, ikaw ma'am, kailan mo gusto? Yung may mga ganun, no? So you have to take into that account kung ano ba talaga. Kasi if your page is showing na medyo serious and formal, tapos yung tone mo with the customers is yun nga, casual, funny, then medyo ma-set off yung customer na, akala ko serious to na bakit iba mang tanong. So you need to find a way to determine kung ano ba talaga yung tone na gusto mo for your business. So these are examples, no, that I got from the net. So I started with hotels. So if you notice, on the far right, you have Maxwell Hotel. So ang sinabi lang niya is simple, plain, affordable. Then you have Harold's na medyo taas talaga niya, no? Meron pa siyang COVID, shinare pa niya, no? So if you notice, now I'm not saying na so sa Waterfront wala sila masyadong info, but it's possible kasi na they're just using the social media to communicate lang. They're really dependent, for example, on their websites or maybe on other means of marketing. But in this case, wala masyado. So we're not saying na mali rin yung ginawa nila because it will depend on their strategy. But if you notice in this example, yung Harrods, they really, they're more proactive. So they even change their additional information na meron na silang multi-use accreditation from DOT and DOH in terms of quarantine, and then all of their staff have been vaccinated. So may magal. So if ako, I'm going to use Facebook to look for hotels, it can really help me, no? Because they even put the ranking. So may mga ganun. So that's how important it is to have this part or this description or this creation tool. So in your case, for those na new pa lang to Facebook, instead of additional, maybe you can put in there yours about the parang creation story mo. And then you can put additional information. Yun na yung medyo formal na rin na, okay, we are at this address, halimbawa, blah, blah, blah. But sa about mo, pwede dyan yung parang creation story mo. So para mabasa na, ito pala nangyari sa kanila. Okay, sige, fine. So it's really important na for a lot of people to check, especially if you have a website, you have the phone number. So important talaga, if you also notice sa Maxwell, they even included their email. So again, depende sa timpla. I also included examples for universities. So diba, so we have sa UP, And then we have sa San Carlos, medyo it also means they're dependent talaga sa website nila. No? And then we also have sa Cebu Normal University. So again, it really depends on how you market or how you promote your page. No? So if you notice for the UP Cebu na ano, no, it konti lang yung sinabi niya sa history and then it enters into ano yung offerings niya and then ano yung mga ongoing efforts niya. For sa inyo naman, it's looking more into the history. No? Ito yung ginawa nila. Because again, you have different customers kasi you're targeting different customers. No? So, Cebu Normal is Cebu talaga siya na university, so that's why they focused on history. I also included this example sa businesses. No? So, on the far left, this is MyJoy. Simple lang, nilagay lang nila. This is the official Facebook page of MyJoy. At least alam mo. But for Orange Bluetooth, di ba? If you notice, nilagay talaga nila. So, as you can see in their additional information, they have their creation story. Di ba? So, a desire to make a statement in the food industry, the first store open. So, if you notice, the majority of their additional information is their creation story. So, while this may not be that relevant siguro for those not in Cebu, but if you're from Cebu, tapos nabasa mo siya, di ba, it's going to open up the feelings you had before. Oh yes, I remember eating at Orange Bluetooth na bata ako. So may mga ganun na target siya. So that's why ito yung maganda rin yung ginawa nila sa ano nila. MyJoy, again, it will again depend talaga kung ano yung marketing strategy niyo. But as I mentioned, it really helps if you put this mga additional information. Okay, now, since you have a presence now on Facebook, you're going to need to put content kasi hindi naman pwede na may page ka lang. No? As like in the past na parang naglagay ka lang ng website, andun lang yung name sa logo mo. So wala naman yan, may address lang doon, may telephone number. Tapos tawagan lang na papunta sa website. So starting, you need to have content. No? Dapat may ilalabas ka naman sa customers mo or sa potential clients mo. So if you look at this is a personal man ito, no? So you have the kung saan na status, but if you notice, you have a lot of things na to do for this, no? So meron na raise money, meron tag. So there's really a lot you can do in terms of content. But again, remember, no, the epic na portion, you have to have tone. You have to have consistency. Hindi pwede na basta-basta ka lang maglalabas ng content. You really have to plan your content. So, of course, usually advice nila is use high quality photos. Of course, we can't afford that. So, if you really can't afford high quality, yun naman medyo malinis, no? Hindi masyadong blurred. But again, depende rin sa kung ano talaga yung pinatarget mo. So, in this case, you can have, you need to have good photos. One of the things that Facebook emphasizes, no, is that when you're making posts, you try to make it actionable. No? So, for example, medyo malabo siya na, so I just read. So in this post, we're hanging out at the 4th annual Jazz by the Lake Festival. Come by our pop-up shop and say hi. So di ba parang you're inviting them to do something na huwag ka lang sa Facebook, punta ka naman. And then at the bottom, they also have learn more. Na come check out our fresh local produce for 20 off. So you can click to learn more. Meron sila option. Baka wala pang time pumunta, sige, check mo ako ano offer sila. So, make your post actionable as much as possible. Yung bang, you're enticing them to do something. So, if your brand is about food, then entice them into eating or into ordering. Kumbaga, di ba, kanang, why wait? Why wait for tomorrow? Di ba? When you can eat today. Ganun. So, go out, paano ba yan? Para bang go out in style pag yung nag-online selling ka ng damit. So, as much as possible. Kaya if you notice some of those online selling, diba, yung strategy din nila is buy now, ito yung price. If ikaw ang first, diba, may mga ganun yung steal first, may mga ganun. So, make the post actionable. Diba, hindi lang nila i-scan. They really have to stop, parang they have to stop and think about what you've posted. So that's a really good strategy. You also find a way as much as possible to keep it simple. So in this case, if you notice the one on the left, if it's blurred, no, if you notice ang taas, no, It has 30% off all summer produce. Hurry while supplies plus terms and conditions apply. But sa kabila, 20 off lang yung nilagay niya. So again, don't clutter too much. Kasi pag nakita minsan ng customer, parang scroll up ko lang yun kasi ang daming text. So try to make it as simple as possible. So in this case, 20 off lang. May iba kita mo ang dami. Ano ba yung example ko usually? Yung para ba if you look at YouTube or even cable, yung pag nanood ka ng Japanese na mga TV shows, hindi yung mga hindi yung mga series, yung shows talaga na variety show, kita mo dami nakalagay sa screen. So it's really overwhelming to the eyes. So in this case, yung tama lang. And when you talk about content, most people tend to forget that you have to keep the account active. Dapat nangyayari lagi sa account. If hindi mo kaya everyday, at least may parang certain schedule, just so people will know na may nangyayari dyan. And in my case, that's what I usually do. Pag may nakita ako minsan na kahit ads na, selling lechon. Minsan titingnan ko yung account. Tapos yung last post na is February 2021. So ako naman parang, sa case ko lang I'm not sure sa iyo, but sa case ko parang, I'm going to be wary of that kasi ano nangyari? Ba't wala na siya FB? Parang ganun. Pero tumatakbo pa yung ads niya. May mga ganun ako or naghahanap ako. Titingnan ko talaga ano ba yung last post niya. Kailan ba nangyari? Bahala na last month at least. Alam ko, okay, meron siyang post last month. So meaning active pa. So if it's food, for example, if I order, alam ko na most likely may makakabasa na message ko or may makakabasa ng comment ko kasi active pa yung account. No? May mga bagong post pa. So that's very important when we talk about content. Of course, you also need to be consistent in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of branding, visual, voice and tone. So, halimbawa, you decided sa sinabi ni Miss Jera, let's say, you decided to go for orange and yellow. So, as much as possible, when you come out with content, with post, it has to, para kumbaga, fit naman siya sa theme or sa branding mo na orange and yellow. Baka naman bigla kang naglabas ka bigla ng post tapos pink siya saka green halimbawa. So, di ba parang maano naman yung customer na akala ko na-accustomed na sila sa orange and yellow. So, be consistent in the branding, in the visuals, in the voice and tone. If you decided early on that you will have a serious tone sa business na to, then do that sa posts, do that in how you respond to customer. Consistency siya. Because masasanay ang customers yan. Alam nila na, ito yung message ko. Hindi talaga yan sumagot. And gusto ko kasi at least alam ko yung for iba. Let's say, order siya, pag post niya, ibigay mo kagad lahat ng options. Ito yung delivery date, ito yung delivery fee, ito yung price, ito yung total. So, depende nga sa kung ano yung na-decide mo na voice. But again, just be consistent. And then you also have to what we call as posting frequency. That's why digital marketing, especially on social media, is difficult. Kasi it really takes a lot of your time, or it takes some time. No? So, posting frequency. So, if tingin mo busy ka, then maybe post, let's say, once a week, twice a week. For some, for some small businesses, they probably say na, it's really difficult kasi you're going to be on social media. But think about it, diba? Let's say your business is karinderya. You have a karinderya. Naggawa ka ng Facebook page. So obviously, during meal times, busy talaga yan. Diba? So wala kang time. But what about the other times na let's say from 2 to 4, so sabihin natin, sige, pahinga ka or nagluluto, nag-prepare na for dinner. What about the other na tao nyo? So, alam mo yung gano'n. So, you have to be consistent lang na para on your side then, it's going to be easier for you to keep the account active. So, let's say nasanay ka na every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon ka lang mag-post, at least part na yan sa schedule mo. Okay, every Thursday, maglalabas din ako. And the good thing about Facebook is you don't really need to wait din kasi. So if your posting frequency is Tuesday, Thursday, as early as Sunday, pwede ka na magawa ng post and then schedule lang siya na lalabas siya ng Thursday. So pwede gano'n, no? Na okay, ito na post lalabas to Tuesday ng umaga, ito Thursday ng hapon. So the Facebook page has that feature na you can post based on a schedule. Which means you really need to plan your content. Hindi pwedeng yun nga, basta-basta ka lang maglagay. But you also have some degree of freedom to experiment o how you put out content, ano yung mga color scheme. So, hindi naman bawal mag-experiment. But remember, you have to be consistent. So, yun nga, if your color is orange and yellow, tapos bigla ka may promotion, then maybe you can try, what if mag-try ako ng green? So, every time maglalabas ka ng post na may green, it tells customers na may discount ka na offer. So, may mga ganun, no? So, you can experiment on that. But again, no, we can't discuss it here kung yung experiment mo is working ba, no? Kasi nga that's on the analytics aspect. No? But this is an example, no, of creating a content calendar. So yun, as I mentioned, ano talaga siya? Efforts, plurals. No? So you have the theme, you have the platform. Again, this is just a sample. No? You can have your own template. But if you notice ang example na to, nilagay talaga niya. So may visual na siya. Ano yung, what am I expecting to get out sa October 1? After that, October 3, October 5. So kita mo, hindi naman siya everyday. But ready siya. No? So may mga ganun siya na mga plans. So ikaw din, on your own, hindi ka na rin mahirapan when that day comes kasi nakaschedule naman yung post mo. So ready na rin siya. But again, as you can see, it really entails time. No? Kailangan mo talaga ng help. I'll post na lang before we proceed. We can just sa PowerPoint. I'll post na lang. I'll find a way to post this siguro. I'll discuss this with the TLRC pa kung paano namin ipopost. Okay, para may copy kayo. So one of the things also that you need to remember is when you post, you want to have engaging photos and videos, no? Because images and videos recently, they've become important mediums for businesses to tell their stories. It can be image, it can be video, pero yun nga, pag image, wala tayo masyadong problema, no? But again, you don't need to have a high resolution na but it has to fit lang talaga your theme, your tone. Because an effective visual can always encourage people to think about something, feel, or take an action. Nakita nila, kanina na examples, mga gulay. Kasi nabibenta sila ng gulay. So ikaw naman, gusto ko itong gulay na to. Or if you want to have, you're selling a specific kind of vegetable. Ito, dumami to sa I've noticed this during the pandemic, especially lumakas yung business ng mga seafood. So yung mga nagpa-post naman, grabe, yung crabs talaga yung pinopost nila, yung picture talaga. So kahit hindi ganun kaganda yung resolution, but the fact na may crabs, ang dami kagad nagko-comment, gusto ko, pwede ba mag-order? So may mga ganun. No? So because it gives them something to feel. Some of the tips, no, so you have to establish a brand personality and share what makes the business unique. Again, tailor content for your audience. If your audience is ito na demographic, then gawa ka. So if nasa mga younger demographic, then okay lang me. But if your target is the older demographic, siguro hindi mag-work yung meme. No? So may mga ganun. So really look into who is your target audience. And we always emphasize na develop a consistent look and feel. Consistency is always key. No? So even if it's food na iba-iba menu, the way it's presented has to be consistent lang. No? So what example can I give? Let's say you're selling food, no, food talaga yung business mo, para kang online na karinderya. So if you're going to post about your dishes, no, so kung ilalagay mo siya sa plate, then nakalagay lahat sa parang plate, no. So, parang ganun ba na idea, hindi ka pakuha ng picture sa ibang content, no. So take a picture of your own food, i-present mo siguro as nasa table, yung mga ganun na. So basta consistent lang siya, hindi mabibigla yung ba't ba yung ganito na post. And you need to have one message or idea per post, no, per content. Huwag masyadong marami. So as you've seen sa previous examples, no, yung isa is about the sale, 20% off. Yung isa is about, hey, we're at this event. So huwag mong isama lahat. As much as possible, hiwalay mo. So meron kang nakakuha ka ng stall sa ganitong mall, tapos nag-offer kayo ng discount, then pwede rin. Punta ka mo na sa stall, then ibang post mo naman yung about sa discount na maraming. By the way, we're at Ayala, right now we have discount. So parang you try to find a way na ma-differentiate yung content. Huwag mo isama lahat ng gusto mo sabihin in one post. There are different techniques, no? But here at UP Cebu with TTBD or TLRC, for example, we actually, before the pandemic, no, we were actually planning to conduct similar trainings. Pero ito kasi mas better face-to-face, no? So one advice, for example, is you grab to attention, use some simple photography techniques. I think si Miss Jera is familiar, di ba, sa rule of thirds, no, Miss Jera? Ito dapat yung focus. So may mga ganun na techniques, no? And madali naman siya makuha. And we were actually planning sana before na mag-conduct ng maraming seminar na ganito, how to take photos, ano yung background, etc. Again, you try to have as consistent na tone and feel. Huwag naman basta-basta lang na mag-photo ka. So you try to do that. When making videos, the goal is usually you need to get the attention of your audience in the first 3 seconds of your video. So dapat start pa lang. Kumbaga, di ba, while they're scrolling sa feed nila, pag play ng video mo sa kanila, if naka-autoplay, dapat kita ka nila, uy, ano kaya to? I'm curious. So dapat ganun yung target ng video nyo if you're planning to upload videos. Generally, no, when it comes to videos for content sa businesses, Facebook, usually, ang advice nila is don't have it more than 15 seconds. Parang basic lang talaga kung ano yung gusto mo sabihin. That's why you have only one message. Because if you have a lot of themes na sa video mo, then it has to be a big video. But otherwise, pag quick lang, 15 seconds. No? Because remember, yung target market mo doesn't have 5 minutes sa liba. Nasa bus ako. So kita kayo video, panoorin ko. So 15 seconds is about enough na at least makita niya what you're offering and ano yung kailangan niyang gawin if he or she wants to get that offer. So yan yung that's a very important time kasi nasa bus ka lang, nasa jeep, 15 seconds. So imagine mo if yung video mo 5 minutes, hindi niya natapos, di ba? And it's also advisable that when you make videos for Facebook, try to find a way na you can deliver the same message na walang sound. So, design for sound off. No? Na if hindi play ng person yung video mo, you can still convey that message in 15 seconds. So, you have to design it now. It can work even if nakamute yung phone niya or nakamute ng Facebook videos na. And that's very important kasi nga, not all people naman will have the video na voice on. So, I'm sure, di ba? Habang nagmi-meeting, 2 hours na, hindi pa tapos yung meeting, labas ng phone, Facebook. So if yung video mo kailangan may sound, so hindi na nga papanoorin yung video mo. And it's also advised to shoot videos vertically because again, as our figures tells us in the Philippines, ang daming accessing Facebook through mobile phone. So mas better na ang videos mo pag shoot pa lang vertical na siya. Kasi pag horizontal mo tapos hindi siya tumama doon sa nagamit, mahirapan siya. So kasi di ba again sige, I'll answer that later. Remember again sa example ko, my meeting pag horizontal ko, obvious na may pinapanood ako, di ba? Pero pag vertical, baka may check lang ako ng email, pero parang Facebook nito. That's why your videos should be done in a vertical na orientation. When writing content, just be sure to have a consistent. Again, as you notice, we're always going back to consistency because yan yung gusto talaga natin. We need to be consistent in our tone. So that when the client or the customer visits our Facebook page, they know what to expect, especially yung mga returning clients, yung mga suki. They know what to expect. Diba? That's why you need to have a consistent voice. And then you have to tailor it also for the situation and the audience. No? You have to adjust them. I've seen a lot of that na parang sometimes alam mo yan, parang they take advantage of some situations. As pangit na yung labas nila. I think you see this sometimes in even some companies na parang may tragedy, tapos biglang may magbibento. So halimbawa, sa lugar nyo binaha or something, tapos magbebenta ka, post ka bigla na, "Oy, bili kayo ng detergent soap," di ba? Parang, of course, you're relating to that issue, pero you have to really adjust for the situation. So titingnan mo naman kung ano yung situation on the ground. So if your target market mo is Cebu City, tingnan mo kung ano yung field din ng demographic mo or yung target customer. And you have to write, of course, for your audience. No? You always need to keep your audience in mind. And again, tingnan mo din yung situation. So, but you really don't need to follow the situation. No? Halimbawa, you notice na in your town, for example, parang grabe na yung politics, no? Puro na ganyan inisip. Maybe your content will be something na not really politics, no? Para at least taangat naman siya. So parang ganun, you really just see what's happening on the ground para naman hindi lalabas sa tone deaf yung post mo. And then of course, it's always important to add mentions, tags, and hashtags. Before I move, I'll answer na lang. For free data kasi, you have to understand ano ba yung limitations ng free data. So most likely, walang video and walang photo. So that means, it doesn't mean na dapat gagawa ka na ng post na walang photo. Not necessarily. Pwede na sa post mo pa lang, nandun na yung relevant information na gusto mo. Na makikita rin nila sa photo or video mo once they have the internet access. But make sure lang na yung post mo, yung text bale, hindi naman masyado mataas, no? To the point na mabobore mo yung audience mo. So, if the video, for example, has only 15 seconds, so make sure na yung post mo, konti lang din. No? So, siguro mga 3 to 5 sentences just to capture what it is you want. No? So, kasi baka sinabi mo nga, for example, TLRC is offering free webinar, tapos ilalagay sa post. Just look at the image for more details. That's free data siya. So ilagay mo yung mga basic lang na info. So in that case, lagyan mo lang siguro, lagay ko lang yung date and time. Huwag mo na yung title. So date and time, tapos siguro registration link. So at least yung post naman, hindi masyado mataas. No? So some intro, tapos it's going to be on December 1 at 4 p.m. Tapos punta ka lang dito na link if you have the time. But at least they know na, okay, yung TLRC pala may event. If I have internet, I'll look back into this. So yan yung mga techniques, no? If it's free data. You can still post photos, but try to find a way na yung text mo should match the photos. So huwag ka mag-refer lang sa video na, watch the video to find out more. Kasi nga, alam mo na free data yung customer. So we're going to wrap up things, no? And we're going to look into the Facebook algorithm just so you get a feel ng what is it you're doing when it comes to digital marketing. So if you noticed, Facebook was born in 2004. Yung like button was 2007. Reactions was 2017, no? So as you can see, mas grabe na no ang reactions compared to likes. So when you post something, wag ka nang masyadong focused on likes, no? Excuse me, you need to focus na on reactions. Marami bang nagre-react? Kasi it takes effort din kasi to choose the reaction compared sa like. So, while like is a good measure, mas better na measure right now is the reaction. And then you now have the credibility, di ba? The people can now post, di ba? If you notice, pwede ka na, pag may lumabas na ad or even content, pwede mo na siya i-hide. So that's why you need to find a way din. Hindi ka naman lalabas na parang nagsa-spam ka lang sa feed ng mga customers mo or even sa friends mo, no? Parang naman to siya, parang every or may post about sa business. Well, you may think that's good, but for your friends, halimbawa, baka mas pamahide nila. So sayang. So when you look into the Facebook algorithm and when you come up with digital marketing for Facebook, you always need to look into the relationship. So this is on the customer side. So it's the post from a person, business, news, or public. So dapat titingnan mo yung relationship mo. And one of the things they tell you, they say no sa Facebook is, dapat kasi when you post something, hanapan mo ng paraan na dapat yung target customer mo or yung target demographic mo, magko-comment sila. Yun din eh. But once they comment, dapat magre-respond ka din. You need to keep the conversation going because you also want other people to join that conversation. Kasi lalabas at lalabas yan later sa, sa top ng feed nila. Tapos diba, since nag-comments na, lalabas yan later din sa kanila na, oy, a post that you commented on, may bagong comment. So, as much as possible, you try to find a way to comment na other people will join the conversation. No? So, yan yung goal mo lagi. When you post, may nag-comment, huwag mong i-end agad. Try mo na i-engage yan. So, talk to them and then try to invite in a way, invite mo yung iba mag-comment. No? Because pag may bago, gano'n na naman gawin mo. So, that's one of the things that you need to do sa Facebook. And then content type. So, as mentioned earlier, so if yung tingin mo yung target na demographic mo is free data, then you make the necessary adjustments. No? So maybe for the meantime, puro text lang muna. Mamaya ka na maglagay ng video and images kasi tingin mo free data yung target mo. So again, content type, determine ano yung demographic mo. Popularity, again, ito no, this is going up to the technical aspect kasi it's engagement. But you still also need to say kung ano nangyayari sa post mo. I think nakalabas naman sa FB, how many are being shared, how many are commenting, or yung angry face, no? It's been an issue na according sa hearing sa US Congress na ang taas ng ranking if angry face yung nilalagay. Kasi ang mga tao, they tend to comment pag nakita nila na that's why na the issue na sa Facebook is pag naglagay kasi ng controversy, may maglalagay ng angry, lalabas, mas maraming mai-entice. Kasi, oy, gusto ko rin mag-comment kasi galit din ako. But for us, in the business end, sa MSMEs, we need to find a way na they share and comment on it na not in a negative manner. And then finally, how new is the post? So newer post, that's why I emphasize also na dapat the post should be, the page should be active, no? Dapat may post ka lagi. Kung hindi mo kaya every day, once a week or twice a week, if not, yun nga, once a week, huwag naman sila once a month, no? Especially for a business, kasi masyado matagal lang once a month. Here's the thing, no? There are different ways kasi to make content. So, halimbawa, wala kang promo. Then pwede nga maglagay lang ng content na parang trivia, kumbaga, na mga 2 sentences na trivia na parang, did you know that chocolate cake is blah, 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 di ba? Or did you know that carrot cake is healthier? Parang mga ganun lang. Just for people to know baka, hey, you're still active, you're still engaging them. Kasi yun yung nakakalimutan ng iba. They engage in online business, they use FB, but they forget na there are some people na nagme-message, tapos yun nga, you get to the point na yung excuse na is, ay, ang dami ko na messages, hindi ko na maano. So again, you try to avoid that because that's always been the goal, di ba? Why are we going to Facebook to promote our business? Because we want to connect with a lot of people. And when the time comes that these people connect with you, with your business, then dapat you are ready to respond to them. Hindi pwede talaga na-exist na parang ang dami nyo kasi ano. I mean, what are you expecting, no? Here in Cebu, the examples I can give is yung mga nagbebenta ng lechon, whether they're the ones cooking the lechon, it's not really cooking na yung kasi sila yung naglalechon, or yung iba parang third party na parang bibili lang sila sa supplier at sila na magbebenta ng lechon to the household. So, yung nangyayari, kasi ang dami, they say na hindi nila kayang order, but in the first place, di ba? Alam mo, halimbawa, yung iba, we tried ordering before na Sunday. Sinabi sa amin, ang dami kasi, hindi na namin kaya. But in the first place, alam mo kasi na, di ba, usually on these dates, marami talaga nag-order. So in your case, dapat alam mo talaga yun. So you have to prepare for that as well. That's why I've been emphasizing also na when you enter into digital marketing, particularly in Facebook, it's really going to take some time from you. No? Gagamit talaga, kakainin talaga yung oras mo. Kasi yun nga, you have to plan your content. What if ang ganda ng content mo, dami ng respond? Bigla may nag-respond na 200. So, dyan na mapasok later yung technical aspect na, let's say, ang ganda ng naging reaction ng Facebook page mo, so na-notice mo almost every day, let's say 30 lang, 30, you have 30 messages every day. Diba? So sabihin mo, kapagod na 30, parang isang parang whole afternoon, nauubos oras mo sa pag-respond kasi di ba, hindi naman sila one message lang, mag-respond din sa response mo. So at that time, pag nakita mo, meaning your page is doing well, diyan na mapasok yung mga technical aspects na. So you have the engagements na, then maybe you can use na yung messenger bot na, di ba, yung like with what other companies are doing na, how can I help you? Ito. Until such a time na doon na lang siya papasok na pag wala na talaga sa choices mo, doon ka na magre-reply. So may mga ganun na options. But again, that's assuming na okay na yun. But of course, you always have to plan ahead no, na I'm assuming na magiging okay ito, na ito yung mangyayari. So hindi pwede na mag-start ka ng digital marketing through Facebook tapos expecting nothing. You have to expect always the best na I'm going to have a lot of messages. Pag hindi, then you can adjust your strategy. Why am I not getting inquiries? Bakit wala akong makukuha na PM? Titingnan mo later, ano ba yung nangyayari sa post mo? Marami ba engagement o wala nagbabasa ng post mo? So may mga ganun na na feedback. So just to give some key takeaways, right now, no, it's advantageous for businesses to have a presence on social media, and it's always important to have a well-defined brand because it can help establish trust. Always be consistent in the content, in the creation story, in everything sa page. In the way you answer your customers, you have to really be consistent. And you have to create content that is relevant, personal, engaging, and specific to your user. And then always make use of content or visual to think that's fall pala or take action. No? Parang ganun, just get them to do something. Yan yung important na takeaways. And of course, don't be afraid to experiment. No? If nag-post ka na good for 1 month, let's say twice a week, so times 4, 12. Tapos nakita mo, ba't ang konti ng share or konti ng views niya. No? So maybe try a different approach sa posting mo. No? Tapos pag nakita mo what works, then doon ka na mag-proceed. But again, consistency. So you have to plan na, okay, for this month, I'm going to try na ganito yung post ko. Pag hindi pa rin na-work, okay, this month, ito na naman. So again, experiment, but always keep in mind the other factors to like consistency, like relevance, engagement, being a well-defined brand. And with that, no, thank you for the time. For those of you who have questions, you can just email me at stage.upcbu@up.edu.ph. I'll also post this sa chat for others na who want to save my email. So thank you. Back to you, TLRC.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Noel, are you there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. So thank you so much everyone for being with us, and of course thank you so much Sir Jason. Today marami ako natutunan kasi meron din kasi akong Facebook page for my artworks, but then I have to call it out because parang mataas na yata yung hiatus ko. But again, Facebook is a really good platform if you wanted to market your hobby and your technically yung mga hobby at saka mga products, no? Especially for homegrown business owners, no? Facebook is a really good platform. But
I'll also add lang for a bit, Jelen, no? I'll also add lang no, na while yes, no, Facebook is really big right now, but for example, somewhere along the way na nagre-research ka for your post marketing, may nakita ka halimbawa na parang mga bago rin na para bang bagong sites na bagong social media, you can also try that one. Kumbaga kasi, you never know. No? I mean, I doubt matatalo yung Facebook, but you never know when it comes to the internet. Pero if you see something new ba na tingin mo, i-try ko kaya to, pwede, you can also try it earlier. No? Parang mga ganun ba, yung experiment. But again, for Facebook talaga. Ang dali kasi, yung kasi yun yan. Also for businesses, I would advise na if you're really, again, serious, no, if with your presence on Facebook, I would suggest na you work to have the verified status. Yung yung may blue na check mark. So if your business
yung
mo
verified, yung may check sa gilid.
So make sure na may check na blue yung name ng business niyo because it really helps a lot. And especially in the algorithm, no, pag halimbawa nagbebenta ka ng cake, pag nag-search ako ng cake sa FB tapos verified ka, malaki yung chance malalabas yun sa iyo una. Kasi verified ka na ng Facebook. So alam nila na yun nga, you're legitimate, hindi ka na nangaloko. And I think for the businesses, they're going to need either TIN or parang business registration na papers. That's some of the requirements. Okay? Sige, thank you again.
Okay, so looking into our question, before we delve into it, meron tayong mga question. Again, meron din questions coming from YouTube, no? But before that, Noel and Michael, let's have our photo opportunity first.
Okay,
So for those who can open their cameras, kindly
Baka mawala ang internet.
baka wala yung internet na naman. Diyos ko po. Diyos mio Santissima. Oo. And of course, we will be sending you updates regarding webinars from the University of the Philippines Cebu, not just from the LRC, but if there are webinars, public webinars for the University of the Philippines Cebu, and it's open for everyone, then we will be sending you updates on that. So, stay tuned lang po sa aming Facebook page ng TLRC.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you can also email na sa Stitch if you want consultations regarding sa mga marketing and even intellectual property. You can also email sa Stitch.
Yes.
All right, so let's start. Please open your cameras, and we have 6 slides. So just continue to smile because hindi po natin alam saan tayong slide fall into. So okay, let's start. For slide 1.
Kindly
Wow.
wear that smile.
Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. And 5. 6.
Okay.
All right.
So kindly note rin po na if you wanted to review all of the concepts that were discussed by Sir Jason today, the recording of this particular webinar can be found in the UP Cebu TLRC YouTube page. So we don't have to actually give you the full PowerPoint. Rather, you can actually review it, no, via our YouTube channel, the UP Cebu TLRC. Okay. Sir Jason, are you ready for the questions?
Yes, go.
Okay, number 1 question. Sir, what if magni-need po tayong mag-hire tools? For example, Hell Week, tapos di ko matutukan yung business ko. Is there a safe way to go on a break from posting but not necessarily stopping the business? So for those na medyo na busy sa ibang staff, no? O kaya hindi full-time business owner. So,
Yeah.
anong pwede nilang gawin?
That's why I mentioned earlier, yun nga, no, it's important if you're going into digital marketing, important yung you really have to plan your content. And that's the thing. Kasi halimbawa, halimbawa ngayon, you're selling online, di ba? Tapos Christmas break. Siyempre, for some of us, uwi ka siguro doon sa parents mo, for example. So, mawawala ka ng mga, sabihin natin, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But you really want na may content, so the best option is pwede ka post ka na you're going on a break. However, you can schedule naman posts in between, no? At least you inform your customers na, hey, I won't be available siguro to answer your messages, but ang page mo will still have content. So instead na 3 times a week halimbawa during your break, you can schedule na once a week, something like that, no? Kasi that's the good thing sa Facebook kasi they have the schedule na pwede ka mag-schedule in advance. Actually, that's what some of the mga digital marketers are using, no? They plan for the whole month, tapos naka-ready na every day. Naka-ready na daily, lalabas na lang yan automatic. So you can plan ahead na, okay, for this week, lalabas ako Tuesday. Ito na oras, parang ganun lang. So at least, your page is still active, so to speak, may lumalabas na post, but hindi ka lang muna maka-respond sa messages. So yan yung yun yung advantage kasi pwede ka na maka-schedule kasi ng posts.
Okay. And another thing also, sir, no, yung mga snack media na ginagamit sa Facebook pages at saka Facebook stories, napaka-important rin yon. So you can plan ahead in doing that since you can just upload a 5 to 10 seconds video snack media for your followers. So not necessarily heavy yung content creation.
Yeah. So at least they feel ba nga, on vacation siya pero at least may content pa rin na lumalabas. Yun kasi nakaganda sa schedule.
Meron nga yung iba, Sir Jason, yung nakikita ko, pag wala silang pinipost na promotional content, nagpo-post sila about what's going on sa kanilang life at saka business. Some of them magpo-post kung anong ginagawa nila sa bahay. Yung parang ganon, parang nagiging snack media na rin sa mga followers nila. At saka parang may personality at saka may sense of connection.
Tapos yun nga, di ba? If wala ka talaga maisip na content, tapos mag-vacation ka, then siguro mga trivia about your business, di ba? Or yun nga, pwede mo sabihin na, did you know that the color orange refers to blah, 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 blah. Yung mga, just to, the idea here is just to ensure lang ba your customers or your fans ba kaya na the page is still there. No? Kasi, even if nag-announce ka, nag-break ka, tapos mawawala ka talaga na matagal, for some kasi magugulat din sila. Nasanay kasi sila, di ba, na they're getting content from you. So, and like YouTube, ang YouTube kasi is dapat effort ka talaga, but sa Facebook kasi yun nga, pwede ka kasi mag-schedule lang. I think pwede rin sa YouTube mag-schedule. I'm not really familiar.
Meron na nga rin yung it's a new thing about YouTube. Parang ginaya nila yung snack media content ng TikTok. Na pwede ka nang mag-story sa YouTube. Yung parang
so yun nga, no? Basta the idea lang here is keep your account active lang talaga. Na may nangyayari lang. Na kahit lang yun, so halimbawa, sa Christmas, hindi ka na kasi nga Christmas break, di ba? So, pwede kang mag-prepare ng parang Christmas message na lalabas December 25 at let's say 9 a.m. na Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you're doing well. Greetings from ganito na business. Di ba? So, wala ka online kasi baka wala internet doon sa pupuntahan, no? But may lumalabas na greeting. So, yung customers mo naman, di ba? They feel na. Tapos they feel na, uy, nag-greet ng Christmas. Parang gano'n, di ba? So, happy naman sila kasi the connection is there.
And that's the good thing about Facebook kasi pwede kang mag-pre-upload at saka posting. So, pwedeng mag-upload at saka i-schedule yung posting ng uploads mo. So, technically, kahit wala kang internet access or wala ka sa bahay, basta may na-ready ka na for posting, generally on a schedule, Facebook na lahat ang magpo-post noon on that scheduled date. So, that's also the good thing about Facebook, no? And technically the social media aspect as well. So, Sir Jason, I think they also have to know, no, that there is a complement between the Facebook universe when it comes to marketing. So you can market via Facebook, but also give some sort or the same kind of marketing on its allied applications, such as in Instagram. So generally, the stories that you can post on Facebook can be posted on Instagram and vice versa.
Yeah.
So if you are planning to have those two applications, because meron tayong demographics rin doon. On the case of Instagram, marami mga kabataan at saka they are looking for creative contents. So if your marketing includes creative contents, it's best that you also use the power of Instagram, which is associated with Facebook. So you post once on Facebook and it can also be posted on Instagram. So
but hindi ko lang siya sinama for now. It's probably going to be a different training, no, because it's a bit difficult din kasi you have to be consistent na between two types of platforms na you have Facebook and then you have Instagram. So although they're from the same company, you have to find a balance na kasi na sometimes kasi yung content on Facebook sometimes will not work on Instagram and vice versa. So,
Tipid
but yeah,
content kasi yung sa Instagram, di ba, sir?
mm, But- mas ano din ang Instagram, mas visual talaga siya.
Visual
So,
talaga. Yung sa Facebook, pwede ka kasing mag-long post at saka marketing
Ah.
post talaga with details.
sa
Oo.
sa Instagram, pwede ka mag-long post pero boring yung post
Oo,
mo.
boring siya.
Pag masyadong
kasi-
mahaba, parang, ay haba naman ito. Dadaanin mo talaga sa pictures or sa video.
Pero yung nakikita ko talaga, sir, if you are on the arts and crafts na community, Instagram is a very good avenue
Yes.
to start with. Oh, nakikita ko yan. At saka, after that, nagta-transfer agad sila or cooperation, yung parang application cooperation with Facebook afterwards. Yun ang nakikita ko na trend kasi doon
And-
ako galing na industry. So,
Yeah, but again, no, it goes back din talaga sa sino yung target market mo. Bali.
Oo.
Kasi nga, if you, yun nga, as Ma'am Jerry mentioned, if you're into the arts na world, most likely yung mga, kumbaga yung mga potential clients mo, customers mo, most likely are also in Instagram. Parang ganun ba?
Yes.
Kasi
because it's very visual.
yeah, they're also posting siguro doon. So, yun nga, depende talaga kung sino yung target market mo rin at ano yung business mo. So, most probably, for example, if yun nga, if you're going for food, like pastry lang, cupcakes, cake, siguro, depende rin kung saan ka na lugar, no? So, let's say I'm in Cebu City. So, maybe, tingin ko hindi masyadong mahilig yung Cebu City sa Instagram in terms of
O
food.
kaya
Halimbawa
yung
lang.
demographics.
Yeah.
Maraming bata sa Instagram pero mas
Oo.
maraming mas bumibili na matatanda sa Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah,
So,
so
yung
may mga
target
ganun.
audience.
So titingnan mo lagi yung target audience mo. Ito iba yun. So Facebook muna ako.
Mm.
But again, that's why you need to adjust lagi. Kasi it will come to a point, halimbawa parang saturate mo na yung market mo. Mag-enter ka ng new market, doon ka na mag-enter. I'll add lang Sir Jera, no? Itong kay Sir Miguel na regarding sa cost. I didn't include, ito kasi yung question niya is cost ng ads per messaging. I didn't include the ads in the discussion, no, because it's a really different training kasi because it's going to have a different approach. For example, when you talk about ads, depende yan kung magkano yung budget mo, ano yung gusto mong result, may goal ka ba. No? So usually mas mahal siya if mas specific yung target mo minsan. Kasi mas maraming makiklik di ba? For example, I'll give you an example, no? So yung event namin, yung webinars namin, I boosted some of those webinars. Pero nilimit ko lang nilimit ko na ito sa 500 para lang matry ko. No? Parang ganun. So, meaning at some point, magtitigil talaga siya. Meaning hindi na magra-run yung ad. Because it will depend din on the budget na ano mo. Saka sa audience, yung ginawa ko sa audience ko is anyone in Cebu City. So, konti
Depende
lang, no?
sa girth ng audience na tina-target. At
Yeah.
saka how many days.
Yeah, but it's really deep. That's why I didn't include it in today. No, I only mentioned it in a bit sa technical aspect kasi ano talaga siya. Iba talaga yung approach when you look into the analytics na. Mas technical na talaga siya. But usually na lang if you're really not into ads pa, I suggest you start na lang talaga with making your page consistent, no? The posts consistent and then just check later tapos pagtingin mo bakit ang konti ng ads ko din, maybe you try good in a certain month, try ka na good for 2 days or 4 days at a minimum. You try 4 days na mag-boost ka ng post mo just to see kung ano yung mangyayari after, no? May mga ganun. So still look at your budget, try mo muna build up your page. Yun yung suggestion ko, no? And once you build up your page, then doon ka na mag-start to strategize on ads per na either messaging or engagement. Okay. Sige, Jera, thank you.
Okay. So, last question, what is the best time or day to post for content? Usually, anong peak hours? Depende po yan sa audience nyo. So, for me, nung sa akin, when it comes to posting for ads, at saka yung paid ads, usually pag 9 a.m. at saka 3 p.m. in the afternoon, marami ang nagbo-view. So, you will have to look at your analytics for that. You will have to look at how many clicks and views are there for each time of the day. And then you determine kung kailan ka gustong mag-post. based sa peak hours na nakikita mo sa analytics sa Facebook. There are
Ah,
different there are
Sige, sige,
different
sige.
sir. Yes, sir.
Continue mo na. I'll
There
speak
are
after.
different peak hours for different types of audiences. If your audience are usually parents, usually 3 p.m. in the afternoon would have been their peak hours because they're done already with most of the stuff they're doing in the households. But for many of working, it's around 12 in the noon because what they do is they actually eat while watching or while looking at Facebook. So maraming factors on when to post. You just have to look at your page first and how it fares when it comes to clicks and watch. So sa analytics yun makukuha lahat.
Yeah.
Sir Jack,
Yes. Again, no, if looking at analytics is too for you for now, parang technical siya masyado or parang mabigat siya masyado for you, my suggestion would be, as mentioned din sa talk, you try to experiment, no? Let's say, for this week, try ka mag-post at, let's say, at 10 a.m. Then next week, try mo i-post at 12 noon. Para tapos tingnan mo yung mga results. May lalabas naman yan sa post, kung ilan yung nag-click, ilan yung ano. So, titinan mo muna. Kasi most likely, when you post as a business, most likely, isi-share mo yan siya di ba? I-share mo yan sa ano mo. So, patitignan mo muna, sige, what if nag-post ako ng 9 a.m. Tapos next week, 12 noon. So, pwede gano'n, no? If you think masyadong madibigat pa intindihin yung analytics, then, kumbaga trial and error ka. Tingnan ko. And then, it will also depend sa time mo. Kasi baka gusto mo mag-post ng 9 a.m. tapos wala ka palang time gumawa ng post. So, again, dyan din So, the experimentation is there. So, titinan mo, ano kayang magandang time talaga? Then, na-notice mo, yung pinaka-magandang time mo pala is 12 noon, then doon ka magsimula. But eventually, as I mentioned, having a presence on Facebook and the content is just a first part lang talaga. Later on, you will have to study or learn more about yung mga engagements, yung mga ads, yung mga predictive nila. Meron pa sinasabi na parang bidding dyan. You can bid on certain ads para matalo mo yung competitor mo. May mga ganun pa. No? So, you will eventually have to do that. But again, at the start, focus lang muna sa presence and content and then experiment lang ano yung content mo. No? I hope, no, if you try ba, you also need to keep an open mind, no? Kasi baka nag-try ka ng design. Tapos may nag-comment na ang pangit naman. Parang ganun. So, try to keep an open mind lang muna. Tapos, tingnan mo lang kung is this comment, nagtotroll lang ba siya or na-feel mo na yung ibang comment doon din napunta na parang baka masyadong hindi bagay yung color sa sa business mo. So, just keep an open mind para lang you can make the necessary changes, no? Parang ganun lang. Okay? So, thank you for that, Jera. And
okay, so I think wala na pong question. So before we go, Noel, kindly
we'll go na, Jera, ha? Bye.
Sir Jason, thank you so much po.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
See you in our next set of webinars, hopefully. Thank you po.
Thanks, Sir Jazz.
Salamat po. Okay, so that's Sir Jason from the University of the Philippines, TTBDO, in cooperation with Stitch. So before anything else, here are our evaluation reminders. Our evaluation and processing of e-certificates are actually automated. So please make sure to type in the correct spelling of your name, since this will reflect on your e-certificates. And also please be mindful in typing your email address because it is where you'll receive your certificates. And we suggest that you keep a copy of your responses in the evaluation for you to verify if you have made mistakes. Always make sure to click send me a copy of my responses before submitting your response. And normally it takes less than 3 minutes after submitting to receive your certificate. And should you not be able to receive it by 5 p.m. today, just send a reply message with your concern to the confirmation email that we sent at msgalorio@up.edu.ph, and we will manually send the certificate on the next working day. And also make sure that you remember that the evaluation link is open for only 15 minutes. So we will be sending you out the evaluation link and it's currently now in our chat box. Okay. The evaluation link is currently in our chat box. Kindly evaluate and make sure that you submit the correct information for your certificate. Okay. Ayan, dito si Dad. Si Sir Jerwell nandito. Yun, marami pala tayong audience. Ikaw, Noel, meron ka bang ima-market sa Facebook?
Wala naman, Miss Jer, pero actually may parang nung pandemic kasi wala akong job. So, na-notice ko na parang yung sinabi ni Sir Jason kanina na may mga groups. So, nag-create din ako ng groups to help those na mga online sellers to post their products.
Oo.
So, ngayon around nasa 5,000 plus or 6,000 na ata yung members ng group na yan.
Wow. That's really, really good. And it's helping our local economy.
Yes.
So, yan. Mobile or digital marketing is really the in, no? Today, especially in the new normal. So, di na yan mawawala, I think. It will stay there as long as Facebook is also there and all of the social media applications are also there. Okay, so meron ba tayong mga bagong webinars for the next few weeks, Noel? Or
Yes,
wala?
yes. This is in partnership with Gender and Development Office naman. So, today, later at 1:30 p.m. We have Safe Spaces Act, the law, with Attorney Leo D. Batad. He is a professor from UPD at UPD with Miss Jasilu, the coordinator of the Gender and Development Office of UP Cebu. So hope to
Okay.
see you all there as well later.
Yes, that will be a very interesting topic, no? Safe spaces.
Yes.
That's for
Um,
gender and development.
Yes, Miss. All of the three, we have 3 webinars for that, for December 4 and 11 also, both all tackling about the safe spaces in different areas.
Mm-mm. Okay, so that will be a series of 3. So
Yes.
3 weeks starting this week.
Today.
Starting
Yes.
today. Pero wala ako mamaya. So,
Oh, yes, Miss. Good luck pala sa colloquium. Yeah.
oo, kasi meron din kaming research colloquium for teachers. So hopefully yung iba dito nakapag-register. I think 250 lang yung maximum seating capacity nun kasi. So, but then we also have a different webinar if you cannot attend the research colloquium. So we have the Safe Spaces Act, no?
The law, yes.
Presented to us by the UP Cebu Gender and Development Office,
So
headed
this-
by Ms. Jessie.
Miss Jasilu. This is po in line with the Philippine Commission on Women's 2021 18-day campaign to end violence against women. And for December 4, we have Safe Spaces Toolkit, what to do in case of gender-based sexual harassment. So with Professor Teresa Paula S. De Luna.
Ay, so marami-rami pa pala. Ongoing po pala tayo. Okay, so today we will be having, later this afternoon, no, Safe Spaces Act, the law. So this will be tackling or discussing, no, about the Safe Spaces Act. And it will be with Attorney Leo D. Batad. Another also, no, gender and development series next week after, that's on December 4. That's with Professor Teresa Paula D. Luna, Safe Spaces Toolkit, no, and what to do in the case of gender-based sexual harassment, so GBSH. So this is very important, not only for women but also for men. Remember, you are also on the gender, no? So Again, Safe Spaces at Work and School by Attorney Eric Paul D. Peralta. So lahat ng mga bagay na ito is not only geared towards women and children, but also for men. Remember, this is all about safe space and being in your gender. So it is beneficial not only for one gender, but for everyone. So you have to take note of it and you have to know it. Okay, so again, thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully we're able to evaluate. Wala na po bang problem? I think wala naman po. So, hopefully naka-evaluate na lahat. Noel, makikita ba kita later this afternoon?
Yes, miss. See you later after
See you
your
later.
colloquium.
Makikita tayo dito. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day. And also, we thank you from the University of the Philippines Cebu Teaching and Learning Resource Center for always being with us for the past few months from July. Most of you are our avid audience from July. So hopefully by next year, we'll still be giving you more free educational resources. And hopefully you will be there to be with us as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So all of our upcoming webinars this December are posted po sa Teaching and Learning Resource Center sa Facebook page. So all the registration links are there po. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yung voice, Noel, yung sounds, I think computer sounds.
Cebu. I'm Annie, and I am a proud alumna of UP Cebu. And between just you and me, I had the best 4 years here in UP Cebu. I came from the College of Communication, Arts, and Design, where we did not learn only the basics in journalism and other communication components, but they also taught us how to become relevant.
You only have one viewer.
My college is also home to the fabrication laboratory, where people meet and converge to use different equipment where they can fabricate things, stuff for the advancement of industrial and product design. All of this comes from the creativity of the Fine Arts program itself. Hey, Sean, why don't you tell them more about the Fine Arts program?
The Fine Arts program itself, founded in 1975, is the pioneer formal school in the fine arts outside the national capital. The college is also the host to nearly half a century-old annual painting competition, Jose Hoya Awards, in honor of the famous national artist Jose Hoya, and from whom UP Cebu's Jose Hoya Gallery was named after.
As the campus of the premier university here in the Visayas, we have to be good. No, we have to be better, or even we have to be the best, not only in the humanities, but even in the sciences as well. Isn't that right, Sean?
That's right, Annie. In 2014, UP Cebu Senvi, or the Central Visayas Center for Environmental Informatics, came up with high-resolution maps using LiDAR technology. The use of this technology by UP Cebu Senvi provided government agencies with accurate data for more precise community flood risk assessment and management. This helped local government units make informed decisions based on data science and, in the process, maximizing their financial resource utilization. And in the case of the Naga Cebu landslide of 2018, UP Cebu Senvi's use of LiDAR technology allowed for one of the fastest search and retrieval operations in a disaster in the Visayas.
Helping the community through the sciences is very fulfilling. But we were not just exposed to that. We were also exposed to the social sciences, from political science to psychology, and all of these concepts helped shape our mindsets to become better citizens. In fact,
The College of Social Sciences articulates and addresses global challenges. The college offers comprehensive and appealing programs for high school, undergraduate, and graduate students. The Master of Education program is a non-thesis graduate program designed for graduates of the Bachelor of Elementary Education or Bachelor of Secondary Education who want to pursue their professional preparation through future studies in areas relevant to teacher education.
And of course, there were also budding business leaders in campus. They were the ones who had the nose for business but had the big heart to be of service.
Under the School of Management, students are not only taught to be decision makers, but the forerunners in marketing and finance. It also hones those interested in further studies of this field through its Masters in Business Administration program.
Today, I am now a practicing broadcast journalist, an opinion columnist, an entrepreneur, a teacher, a better person, really. All of this because of my training and experience at UP Cebu.
Nurtured to create, inspired to innovate, destined to serve. We at the University of the Philippines Cebu are driven by academic and operational